Do you know those bands labeled as one-hit wonders? You know, the ones that enjoy unlimited fame and wealth from a single song or album, and then years later they haven't created anything noteworthy? The exact same thing happens with games, and we're here to tell you about it. I need to mention that we aren't including mobile games in the equation, only free-to-play PC games. So, can you guys already guess some of the names of our top 10 one-hit wonder free online game developers? Let's begin. Number 10, Freejam Robocraft. Freejam Games was founded in 2013 with the goal of creating a multiplayer action game where you could create and customize your robot vehicles. Robocraft is that game, and it was quite successful during the first couple years, while still maintaining a respectable player base today. As for Freejam, the team is trying to catch lightning in a bottle with their next games, but haven't succeeded so far. Robocraft Royale was a rush job trying to cash in on the Battle Royale popularity, but failed catastrophically, going from buy-to-play to free-to-play in just one day. Now that's something of a Guinness World Record, if there was such a category. It was doomed to failure with a maximum of 4 players, yes, 4 players online last we checked. But there's a ray of hope for the studio as their next buy-to-play game, Card Life, seems promising. Heavily inspired by Minecraft, Card Life is set in a world entirely made out of cardboard, and you can shape your own characters and objects. A really nice touch. It's not free to play though. Number 9, NS Studio Black Squad. Who would have thought that a completely generic military shooter would be your greatest breakthrough as a studio? Especially after having failed at a previous attempt, a zombie shooter, Exile. Well, we have no clue, but Black Squad really is quite an achievement. It's not that it's groundbreaking or that it brings anything to the genre that you haven't seen before. The game screams generic from its screenshots and trailers, and it doesn't look stunning either. And yet, it's incredibly competent and fun to play, in a way that very few first-person shooters manage to be. The cherry on top of this game is that it is fair with its free-to-play business model, which means that players can't buy any advantages with real money, only skins and other cosmetic stuff. Could this be, oh my god, the secret to successful free games? Being fair to your players? Shit, well I'll be damned guys, stop the press. Number 8, Exile Games ArcheAge. Exile Games is turning to the mobile market after the failure of Civilization Online, being unable to release another PC game capable of rivaling with the scope of ArcheAge. Flawed as it may be, it's a work of epic scale and ambition, and one of the last few true sandbox MMORPGs before trends such as MOBAs and Battle Royales took over. Either Exile Games is secretly developing its next big thing, or they are planning on keeping afloat with ArcheAge and mobile spin-off ArcheAge Begins, which kinda sucks to be honest. Number 7, NEOPLE-Dungeon Fighter Online. NEOPLE struck gold with the side-scrolling MMO Dungeon Fighter Online, but has failed to replicate, or even come close, its success with the following games. Most notable is the shooter Ghost in the Shell standalone complex, First Assault Online, winner of our longest game title award. As a first-person shooter, it was above average, but it never really managed to find its place. Oddly enough, there's a Dungeon Fighter Online sequel in development, but it's not by NEOPLE. Instead, it's Pura Chronicles developer ThingSoft who is working on this game, codenamed Project Knock. Where will NEOPLE go from here? Apart from a few mobile games, they are not sharing much, so we'll file this under a one-hit wonder for now. Number 6, Smartly Dressed Games Unturned. Just what the hell is Unturned? Have no fear, I'm here to tell you about it. Unturned is pretty much DayZ mixed with Roblox or Minecraft with zombies. Unturned is free to play, has a huge player base, and the funniest thing of all, it was created by one single guy. One. When he was 16. Holy crap. Nelson Sexton is still doing pretty much most of the work on Unturned by himself, but he has some help from the community mappers with new maps, for example. Smartly Dressed Games is the name that he chose for his company. It was probably the accessibility and versatility that made Unturned the success that it is today, but it is well deserved. In fact, we don't see Smartly Dressed Games working on a second game anytime soon, but we don't blame them. There's kind of only so much one man can do. Number 5. Digital Extremes Warframe. Warframe is far from being Digital Extreme's first game, as the Canadian developer has quite a large catalog in its past. But as far as free games are concerned, they haven't made much besides the acclaimed sci-fi third-person shooter. In fact, their only attempt was another free online game, The Amazing Eternals, a first-person shooter mixed with card game elements that was cancelled while still in closed beta. It was far from being a bad game, but it was trying to find a spot in the crowded hero shooter genre, and the studio decided to cut its losses early on. Eventually, they will take another shot at a free game, but while they gather their strength, they are doing an amazing job with Warframe. Number 4. CCP Games EVE Online. CCP Games operates from Iceland, and its first game was EVE Online, released in 2003 and needing no introduction. This space sim MMORPG is enjoying its long life and has turned CCP into the powerhouse and respected software house that it currently is. Well, they could certainly be even more respected had they followed EVE with another successful title, but they didn't. Having acquired the rights of World of Darkness from White Wolf and teasing us with what could be the greatest vampire MMORPG ever, development was sadly cancelled for good in 2014 after a series of hiccups. What a waste of a great license. CCP's stab at the first-person shooter genre hadn't been very successful either. First, it was Dust 514, a shooter which was supposedly connected to EVE Online, but oddly enough only launched for PlayStation 3. After being cancelled, they tried to build on it with Project Legion for PC, a project that was also cancelled in 2015. And you guessed it, is now returning as Project Nova. Someday. Probably. Third time's the charm, right? Or not. Number 3. Grinding Gear Games Path of Exile. There's no denying that Grinding Gear Games is one of the most surprising success stories of recent years. A studio founded in 2006, its only release until now is the hugely successful action RPG Path of Exile. Some corporate suits may be scratching their heads at how the studio is on top of its game with only one release, and above all, a free one at that. The answer is they're not freaking greedy bastards. Also, they clearly love their game and are willing to do whatever it takes to keep it fresh and interesting. However, that is all we know about them. Is there a plan B for the studio? Many years have passed and still no second game in the works. We're curious to see how Grinding Gear Games would tackle another genre. We would be incredibly excited if they announced an actual MMORPG, even if it was top-down just like Path of Exile or Lost Ark. We can always hope. Number 2. Jagex RuneScape. Jagex has one of the major video game success stories with RuneScape, which managed to enter the Guinness World Records as most popular MMORPG. That was in 2008, however, so it's likely that things have changed in the meantime. No matter what, RuneScape and its old-school variant are still incredibly popular, and Jagex has failed to replicate this success with further games. Even an interesting license such as Hasbro's Transformers didn't amount to much, with the initial plans of a full-fledged MMORPG being scrapped in favor of a MOBA. Not a bad one at that, but it was cancelled while still in beta. Other games either failed to take off, Chronicle RuneScape Legends, or were ditched altogether, Stellar Dawn. And it doesn't look like there is much else in development right now. Well, I guess we will always have RuneScape. And number 1, Riot Games League of Legends. Riot Games is the powerhouse that brought us so many celebrated titles such as League of Legends, and yeah, they are clearly extending their talent everywhere. There is no genre they haven't touched upon yet. Okay, sarcasm over. Riot Games is drowning in League of Legends money, so they don't really seem to care if you want to see other games developed at their studios. They even have Tencent's money for crying out loud, as they were bought by the giant Chinese publisher in 2015. And what did they do with all this money? They acquired Radiant Entertainment, which was working on the promising robot fighting game Rising Thunder, and they just canceled the damn thing. Sure, they released the scraps to the fans early 2018, having called it Rising Thunder Community Edition, and while it comes with an open source server, it also comes with a lot of bugs. There are some rumors that Radiant could be working on a League of Legends fighting game, which just seems epic. That would be miles ahead of the League of Legends card game, something that has been mentioned too many times, so fingers crossed. No matter what, and despite the huge success of League of Legends and the TLC that they give to the game, a studio that has been operating for 12 years should have dipped its feet in a second game already. And this is our latest top 10. Do you think we missed any major studio? We know there are others such as Ritamoto with Heroes and Generals, and more recent developers including Blue Mammoth Games with Brawlhalla, or Lion Games with Soulworkers, but we don't want to jump the gun with these few just yet. Any other ideas? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, see you then.